Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new and you've just stumbled across me in that vastness that is YouTube land, my name's Tara and welcome to my atelier where I like to talk about all things sewing, vintage inspired and DIY style. So if sewing is your cup of tea and you're as addicted to fabric as I am and you like a little bit of vintage inspired sewing techniques and ideas, then do give my channel a subscribe and come back and hang out because it's really lovely to show you what I'm up to. It makes me quite accountable and it motivates me to do a lot of sewing for myself. I do sew for a living for other people, but it's lovely to be a bit selfish, especially in these crazy times where you know, it can be a little bit bleak, but having a little project on the go is really good for the brain. It's really mindful and you get something really lovely at the end of it. So in today's video I am going to show you some of my winter sewing plans. All of the fabrics are from my stash. They are all fabrics that I've had for at least 6 months and one of them I've had for over 20 years. So let's jump in. The first fabric I want to show you is this really lovely green velvet. I bought it from Missy Mop Fabrics. She's online and sometimes she does pop-up shops around the local area or local to me. She has amazing fabrics. I bought this 1 meter of it with the idea of making a skirt, a pencil skirt. Pencil skirts aren't really something that I have worn, but I really love them and they, you know, I just wondered if they were the wrong sort of shape for me, but I'm going to give it a go anyway because I think, you know, life's too short and you should wear what you really want to wear, even if it's a lampshade or a very large turban on your head. So my lovely friend gave me this pattern, the Charlotte skirt by Hand London, and I don't think they do paper patterns anymore. And this is so beautifully packaged and the illustration so incredibly gorgeous. And I know that even though I've never used a by Hand London pattern before, but I do know that I really love the brand and I'm interested to give this a go. I won't be doing this peplum, I'm just going to use the pencil skirt and just see what I think of the fit and the pattern. I've just returned from a mini grand tour of Europe and I had to pack quite a limited wardrobe, and I was looking in Pinterest land at capsule wardrobes and, you know, looking for vintage inspired capsule wardrobes, and there really is nothing out there. I'm sure there probably is in the deepest, darkest recesses of the interweb, but it really got me thinking, and I'm really inspired by this idea of a vintage inspired capsule wardrobe. Everything I found was sort of, you know, beige, greyish, you know, jeans, Breton tops, ballet flats, which I like all of those things, but there wasn't really anything that was speaking to me. So at the moment, and for the, you know, run up to the Christmas season, I am going to be working on this idea, and I'm going to be doing a couple of videos over the next few weeks all about vintage inspired capsule wardrobes. So if that sounds interesting to you, do hang around and do pop back and do click the subscribe. Anyway, so that's the first thing with this, you know, and look at these lovely colours. And actually these colours, this sort of bright pink, these greens, these foresty deep jewel bright greens, and then black, because I tend to always wear black, as you can see, and, you know, cream. So are really my autumn winter colour palette, but I will talk a little bit more about that next time. So my next fabric is this wonderful acidic-y colour green wool tweed. It's got loads of beautiful, it's got sort of blue flecks in it. It's beautiful. Now I have had this for decades, and look, just so that you could see, look at the label, if you can see the label. You can focus. It was 150 francs, which at the time was £15. There's 3 meters of it, so it was £5 a meter. When I did my fashion degree, when we did our collections, we went to Paris to buy all of our fabrics. We had to save up and go to Paris and buy all of our fabrics at that time. And I bought lots of wools and silks, sort of tweedy silks, woven silks. And there used to be, I haven't been to Paris for quite a long time, and I certainly haven't been fabric shopping there for at least 15 years now. But there used to be at the bottom of the steps of the Sacré-Cœur, there's a kind of like a triangle of roads, and there was so many fabric shops there, and they all, you know, all the fabric is pre-cut in amounts, and you just picked up the, you know, they were stacked high, and you just picked up the fabrics that you wanted. And this green didn't go at all with any of my other fabrics that I used in my collection, but I just loved it so much, and I've been carrying it around for over 20 years now. So I'd really love to make something with it. It's a sort of more of a kind of jacket coat weight wool. It's pure wool, and I want to make something really special that I know that I'm going to really love. So I was wondering about I don't have patterns, and I haven't sort of found anything at the moment, but I was wondering about maybe a 1940s inspired suit maybe, or a coat. I'm a bit addicted to vintage coats. As you can see on my stand, I've got my 60s coat that needs repairing. So I don't know. I'm going to do a little bit of research, but any suggestions, any ideas, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because, you know, I've been too sort of emotionally attached to this fabric to do anything with it, but it's just sitting there, you know, stagnating really, gathering dust, and luckily no moths as yet. So I really want to do something lovely with it. So yeah, a suit, probably, possibly, because I realised from my holiday when I was doing my capsule collection, I don't actually have any vintage jackets, and that was like a real gap that I had. So it would be great to maybe do something with this. So my next 2 fabrics, I want to do something the same thing but different versions of. So you may know I have my vintage the full circle skirt, like vintage inspired circle skirt, like pattern cutting and sewing guide, and I took my black full circle skirt as part of my capsule wardrobe, and I wore it, and actually I'd worn it all summer, and I'm still wearing it. It's one of those brilliant wardrobe heroes, as I call them. So I wanted to do another couple. So I have lots of images of circle skirts on my Pinterest boards, and you know, the old fashioned dressmaking pattern covers. I'll put pictures in so you can see. And one of them had a floral skirt, but it was quilted, and I love those quilted vintage skirts. And I remembered that I had bought this probably about 6-7 months ago, maybe even further back than that, from Minerva Crafts. I think it's a Rose and Hubble cotton poplin. And I was wondering about doing a circle skirt, but actually quilting this. My studio gets really cold, so I think it would be a great idea. So that was what I was thinking. I have 3 meters of this because I'd intended to make a fit and flare dress, but I'm really loving the idea. And actually this green goes, hold on one second, goes really well. The greens in this are the same, so I could do a jacket and wear it with this skirt maybe. Interesting. So even though when I was looking at all these fabrics, I thought, oh, none of them go together. And I'm trying to do this idea of, you know, this sort of interchangeable pieces that everything kind of works with everything else within this little collection. But actually, accidentally, I've kind of matched things. The other one is this very subtle, I think you'll agree, Schiaparelli pink corduroy, which I've also had for a very long time. Before I moved to where I live now by the sea on the south coast, I grew up and lived in Walthamstow in London, and they have, as you probably know, the most fabulous market. It used to be the longest street market in Europe, coming in at over a mile long. And as a child, I was always there, and you know, I've been sewing since I was 6, so I used to buy lots of stuff down there, and I still did. It's the one thing that I actually really miss about London, is just being literally 3 minutes away from the market. So you'd have an idea to make something and you could go and buy fabric. Now this, I remember, was the extortionate price of £1 a metre, and I have, it's lovely and soft, pure cotton. It's not quite a needle cord, but it's almost a needle cord. I've got loads of it. I don't know why. I think I just loved the colour, and so I want to make a circle skirt out of this, and I actually want to make a waistcoat to go with it. I don't know where all this kind of idea about suiting has come from recently, but it was just something that I started thinking about when I was away, and I really love the idea of it. And actually the waistcoat would also go with this, and I'm loving actually this sort of pink and green together. It's making me feel quite fizzy with excitement. So my final thing that I want to make, I am so excited about it, and I have shown you this pattern before, this vintage cape pattern here, which I love. These lovely ladies, her showing you her culottes there, very nice. So I love the idea of a cape, because, you know, I want to feel like a superhero. And where I live in the autumn months, right by the sea, I mean, it's literally just over the road, the sea, and I have to go into town, or to go anywhere here actually, I have to walk along the front. And so, you know, it gets really windy, it's wet, it's damp, it's beautiful and thrilling, but sometimes it just is too much. And as I said earlier, I love coats. I've got loads of coats. I've got literally no waterproof coats though. And I started thinking about some kind of raincoat, some kind of vintage raincoat. And then I was thinking about something that maybe I could put over another coat, or layered, or jackets or something. And I think, and something with the hood as well, because you can't, umbrellas are, you know, they're dead literally 2 seconds after you get out the door. So there's really no point. And so I just thought this one with the hood would be really good. So I started thinking I'd get some oilcloth maybe, or some kind of traditional, you know, Burberry MAC type fabric or something. And then I was looking at one of my favourite designers, current designers, is Miu Miu, which is an Italian label, and it's the sister company to Prada. And it has a very kind of 60s kittenish type aesthetic, and they always do sort of quite, I mean, I actually really like a lot of the Italian designers. They're, other than Vivienne Westwood, they're probably, you know, up there as my favourites as in terms of inspiring, you know, because a lot of modern fashion I don't find terribly inspiring, but I do love the Italians because they're so over the top. And yeah, Miu Miu is great. And the last season, I think they did these sort of what looked like leather sheepskin lined capes, which were just awesome. And I realised that, you know, I had this pattern, and then I had bought, to make a Mary Quant style MAC, this PVC from Missy Mop Fabrics. Can't remember how much it is. I'm pretty sure she's still got it in stock, so I will link anything that I can possibly link, which isn't that much, I'm very sorry, down below. But yeah, I got this PVC, and I remember, which I couldn't find for filming this, so apologies, but I'd bought a sheepskin waistcoat in a charity shop a long time ago. It was, you know, literally about £5, and I was going to do something with it. I'd got it cleaned and I'd taken it apart, and actually I was thinking that it's like a dark brown, and I could line the hood in that so that my head was really nice and warm and my ears were warm, because I have quite bad ears, I always have, so I like to keep those warm. And then I was just going to line this with just black lining, but then I was thinking that maybe I would get some kind of quilted lining, so even, you know, so it's something that you could throw on. This has just got like a little frog fastening at the top there, but there's no reason why I couldn't fasten it up even more. It's either going to be amazing or it's going to be awful, but I think it's going to be interesting. I hope you've enjoyed having a little look at some of my winter sewing plans, and I'm really excited about this vintage inspired capsule wardrobe. Next week's video and the one after that I think are going to be about that, so do pop back if that sounds interesting to you, and let me know what you think of my sewing plans. I'm wondering if they're really quite out there and over the top, or whether, you know, does that really matter? You know, we do need a little bit of joy in our life, and this gives me so much pleasure. And I basically didn't spend any money, because all of this fabric is, you know, money I'd already spent, some of it over 20 years ago when they were still francs and not euros in Paris. I hope you're having a wonderful time, getting some time to be creative and, you know, sewing some lovely things or knitting some lovely things if that's one of your superpowers. I hope you keep well, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts about this and any pattern suggestions for that green tweed. Very gratefully received. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope I see you again. Take care, my lovelies, and see you next week. Bye.